Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm T. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my sewing makes from the month of January, which were all a part of a challenge that I hosted on Instagram called the #Sewsuitup challenge. If you have participated in this challenge, you know all about it. You may also know about it, even if you didn't participate in it, if you were following me on Instagram. So I'm going to tell you all about the makes in great detail, the patterns that I use. I'm going to give my full review of the patterns that I've used, except for one of the patterns, and that's the New Look 6390. And the reason why I'm going to give just a overview of that is because I've already did a review of that pattern, and I'll go ahead and put the iCard in this video as well as in the description box below, so you can go over and watch the full review of that make. I made my anniversary jacket. I did an anniversary suit last year for my 13th wedding anniversary, and I made the little bolero jacket out of that pattern, the New Look 6390. I absolutely love that pattern. I made it several times before, and I knew that I wanted to make it for this Sewsuitup challenge as well, because it was something that I did before and the results turned out really well. So I decided to go ahead and make that as well. So I'll tell you a little bit about the fabric that I used, and I'll tell you a little bit about the pattern, but you can watch the full review by clicking on the iCard above or the link in the description box below, and you can watch the full review of that pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the video, give you my reviews, and also tell you about the other patterns that I use for the challenge, as well as the fabric choices and all that good stuff. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get into the video and tell you what I made for the Sewsuitup challenge. All right, so as I mentioned before, well, not the first, but one of the garments that I made for the Sewsuitup challenge was the 6390 by New Look, and it is this pattern break here, which is a really cute pattern that has 4 different variations. The first and second and third variations are variations of a dress. It's a fit and flare dress, really cute dress. It has so views A and B is essentially the same skirt, bodice and dress. It's just if you want to do like a contrast, or if you want to use lace for the upper bodice yoke section, you can use lace. It has a midriff. View C, you can make a little scrappy dress instead of having the wider scraps. It has just some thin scraps for dress C. And then view D is the bolero jacket, and that is what I made for my jacket for the Sewsuitup challenge. And I paired it with a cute little skirt that is also from a New Look pattern, and that is the 6346, and I'll tell you about that here in a moment. The jacket that I am wearing, and I'll go ahead and pop a picture here so you can see, it's of an abstract print. It's a rayon suiting fabric that I purchased from Vogue fabric several years ago, and like I said, it's a really cool abstract print. It is black, red, and white. It washes really well. I really love it. And it has a little bit of spandex in it. So it is a stretch suiting fabric. It has about 5% spandex in it. But mostly it's rayon, and it's really drapey, really nice and fluid. And that's why I use it for the skirt as well. So for the jacket, I went into the project knowing what I needed to do, because I made the jacket several times before, and I already had the alterations and adjustments from my previous makes. But I did want to, because I've been losing so much weight, I wanted to remeasure myself, check myself, and make sure that I could still fit it somewhat. And it is a loose fitting jacket, as you can see here. It's not terribly loose, but it's semi-loose. And so I knew that I wouldn't have needed to do many adjustments if I had to do any. Fortunately, I didn't have to do any changes to the sleeve area, and I didn't have to do like a bicep adjustment or anything like that. I chose a size 16, and that worked out really well. So for the body of the garment, I chose a size 14. And so I had to grade, you know, in between sizes around that armhole area because I needed the size 16 for my arms. But that's all I had to do. But I had already did that. So, I didn't really have to do any adjustments and stuff this time. So the garment still fits really well. This jacket it has instructions for you to do a partially lined jacket, but I always fully line it because I feel like, you know, if I'm gonna go halfway, I might as well just do the rest. You know what I'm saying? So so I lined the entire jacket. So for my lining fabric, I just used a polyester satin type fabric from Hobby Lobby. It's just a really nice slinky type fabric from Hobby Lobby. So I will get the garment and I will go ahead and give you some close-ups, but you can also take a look at the pictures as well. And it turned out really well. I love it. I love the fit. It's not too fitted and is not too loose, and I like that about it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the jacket and show you some of the details of the inside of the jacket. Okay, I am back with the jacket, and here's the jacket. And as I mentioned before, it is black, red, and white material. It has just a little bit of stretch in it. You might not be able to tell, but it has just a little bit of stretch in it. And because it has stretch in it, I failed to realize, well, I didn't really fail to realize, I just thought that it would not have had as much stretch in it that I would need to make any changes to accommodate for the lining. I was wrong by that. So the inside of the lining, like I said, it's this this black satin type fabric. It is polyester, but it's really thin. It's not your original thin lining. I wanted something a little bit more smoother, but this is light enough that it's great for a lining. Now, about the mistake, I wanted to tell you about my mistake. So I needed to make a dart in the back of the garment, like in the center of the back of the garment, because it had a little bit of stretch to this garment, and it stretched out of place a little bit when I was attaching the bottom of the lining to the shell of the garment. It had about a ½ inch of space that I just could not fill with the lining of the jacket. So I had to make a dart to get it to fit. But other than that, it's really great. And I'll go ahead and show you that dart here. It's right here in the back of the garment. It still has a little bit of the fabric pen marker on it, so I have to wash it again. But that's the only thing that came out, you know, not the best with this garment, but it's still really great and it works well. And like I said, it's fully lined, so my sleeves are lined as well. This pattern usually it calls for understitching, but I always do top stitching instead. I don't know why, but I like the top stitching more. So you can see I have top stitching on it going around the jacket. You can't really see because it blends in pretty well, which is what I wanted it to do. And so, yeah, I just have the stitching going on the inside as well as on the outside because it's top stitched instead of understitched. So that is the jacket that I made for the Sewsuitup challenge using the 6390. So now let's talk about the skirt that I made to go with this, which is the New Look 6436. I made several skirts out of this pattern before, and this is my first time doing a review of this skirt though, so I'm really excited to give my review of it. As far as the 6390, the one that I just talked about, this probably would go without saying because I did a review of it. I've made it several times and I'm making it again, but this is definitely a pattern that I would recommend. I love it. It's really easy and simple. An advanced beginner can sew it up, I believe, especially if you decide not to go with the lining. This is a jacket that you can easily just use either a serger on the exposed part of it, the seams, or you could use a zigzag stitch, or what have you, or even bias binding. So you don't need to do a lining. It's just that simple and that easy. It's just wonderful, and it calls for, let me tell you the fabrics that it calls for. It calls for View D, lightweight twill, blue clay, tweed, brocade, seersucker, some stretch wovens, challis, things like that, poplin. So it's very versatile in that way. And that's one of the reasons why I like it as well, because you can use an array of different fabrics with it. So yeah, anyway, let's move on and talk about New Look 6436. Okay, so the New Look 6346, I said that wrong before. The New Look 6346 is an easy pattern. It's really easy. This is also advanced beginner friendly. You have 4 different variations of a half circle skirt. This is a really great pattern. I feel like this should be a TNT for many people, and a wardrobe staple. It's a really basic skirt. The version A and B, the first 2 versions, is essentially the same skirt. The only difference is the length variations. So View A is a really long skirt that falls right around the calves, whereas View B is a more of a mini skirt. It's not mini, but it falls slightly above the knee. So I'll tell you about the adjustments that I've made with this, but let me finish telling you about the variations as well. So for views C and D, wait, let's go back. Views A and B, the closure is a front closure, and you're using buttons. So I'm going to go ahead and show you again here so you can see. So as you can see, views A and B, those are the views where you're going to be using buttons down the center front of the garment. You have a self-facing on the front of the garment where you're going to go ahead and flip that facing inward, and that facing helps to help the buttonholes to be stabilized. So I really like this. It's really simple and easy. It has, let's see, you have your front piece, your back piece, your front waistband, your back waistband, and then you have the facing. So you have 5 pieces, really simple and easy. Skirt C and D, instead of using buttons, you have a zipper, and that zipper goes in the center back. It's also really simple and easy as well. So I made this skirt 3 times. I made the skirt 3 times, but the third skirt I did not finish yet. And I made it before this year as well, but this year I made it 3 times. So the first skirt that you're seeing is the one of the abstract print, made with that rayon spandex fabric that I purchased from Vogue Fabrics. That skirt, oh my goodness, I love the colors. I love the way that it moves. It has a lot of movement in it. I love the length of it. So let me tell you about the skirt, the modifications that I did. So I shortened the skirt. No, sorry. I lengthened the skirt by about 3 inches because, as I mentioned before, the skirt B, which is this one right here with the buttons down the center front, that falls roughly about 3.5 inches above the knee. And I wanted mine to be either right at the knee or a little bit below the knee. And so that's why I lengthened it a little bit. I didn't do any other adjustments other than that. Just a simple length variation adjustment. And then I also made, I'm going to go ahead and pop another picture up here so you can see the other skirt that I made with this same pattern. Same thing. The only changes that I made was the length variation, and the fabric for this one is a brocade fabric that I purchased from Joann Fabrics. That's basically it about this pattern. I love this, and like I said, it is for me a wardrobe staple. I would definitely recommend it. Recommend it to advanced beginners, and it's something that obviously I would sew again because I've made the skirt about 4 times now. So definitely a good skirt. The sizing is right on. I chose a size 14. They do not list the waist measurements on the tissue paper, but the hip measurement is listed on the tissue paper. So I had to measure out the pattern pieces, and I selected a size 14 based on what I needed. And that was roughly about 30.5 inches to about 30 3/4 of an inch or something like that. Okay, so let's talk about the jacket pattern that I used to pair with this skirt, the new look skirt. This is the Burda 6760, and it is a pattern that comes with 3 different variations. So variation A is of a shirt dress, and it has like a lapel on the front of the dress, and then it has a collar that goes on the back. And then view B is of a shirt that has a stand-up collar, and it's really close fitting. And then view C is the jacket that has it's a button-up jacket. It's just a plain button-up jacket that has the front section, which is cut out twice. The back is cut on fold. You have your sleeves, and then you have your collar and your facing. So it's really simple. It has 5 pieces, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something really simple because I wanted to make a couple of different suits so that I could have a few options to wear, and I didn't want to spend all my time on one project. And so that's one of the reasons why I selected this. It's a very easy pattern. It is rated as an easy pattern, and I would classify this one for advanced beginners as well. Only because you're working with buttons. There's some facing detail, as well as button details. There's darting in the back. There's darting in the front. And there's also pockets. So I would say that this is definitely an advanced beginner pattern. The sizes range from, in US sizes, 10 to 22, and in European sizes is 36 to 48. This is the pattern here. And as I stated before, I did view C that has, it's just a button-up jacket, but I did the neckline of view A because I wanted to have that contrast lapel and collar showing as well to match the jacket. I'm sorry, to match the skirt. So that's one of the reasons why I selected the collar of view A. Now, let me tell you about the modifications and adjustments that I made, because I did have to make quite a few. I had to shorten the sleeve cap by a 1/2 inch up here. I also had to shorten the sleeve itself by 1.5 inches because it was too long. I lengthened the garment initially. I did 2 mock-ups of this. So initially with the first mock-up, I found that it was a little bit short and I didn't want it. I did not want a short or crop type garment. And so I decided, hey, I can just lengthen it by 1.5 inches. And so that's what I did. I lengthened it at the short and lengthen line by 1.5 inches. But then I soon found out with my second mock-up that by doing so, it caused drag lines in the back of my garment because my back isn't, I have a short torso. And so it caused some drag lines and it was just really unflattering back there. So I had to go back and shorten that back where I initially lengthened it. I had to shorten it back to its original where it was originally set at, and then after that I had to shorten it even more by 3/8 of an inch. So at the end of all of it, I shortened the garment by 3/8 of an inch because it had some drag lines back there that I needed to fix. So I shortened it by 3/8 of an inch. It has a facing that it's a self facing. It's already attached to the garment, but I cut that off and then I added 5/8 of an inch to the facing as well as 5/8 of an inch to the garment for my seam allowance because I wanted to reattach it, but I wanted to have that piece separate so that I could do a contrast piece. And the only way that I could do that was if I detached the facing from the body of the garment. So that's how I was able to achieve the contrast look. All in all, I really like the pattern. I think that I need to go back and do a little bit more work on the garment or on the pattern itself. And I would like to make it a fully lined garment. Overall, I like it. It's an easy pattern. I would like to do views A and B as a dress and also as a shirt, because if it looks this good and fits this good as a jacket, I'm pretty certain that it will fit and look good as a dress and a shirt as well. So I'm looking forward to making both of these views for a dress and a shirt as well. So I really like that one and I would recommend that as well. Lastly, I made the New Look 6231 and I made the pants out of this. This is also a really nice, easy pair of pants. I think it should be a staple as well. I haven't made the skirt yet, but I would like to make the skirt as well. It seems like a really simple, easy pencil skirt. The pants, I only had to do one modification, and that was I needed to shorten the pants by 3 inches. I chose a size 16. The first time that I made these, I made them as a mock-up, and I made a size 14, and it was a little bit too snug on my hips, and so I didn't like that. So I went back and I made a size 16, and again, I only needed to shorten the pattern by 3 inches, but that was about it. I think in the future, when I make these again, I might come in around the lower calf and ankle area about maybe a 1/2 inch and take out some fabric because my version of it is a little bit wider than what you see here on the model. And that's because my legs are very, very thin and skinny at the bottom of my legs. They're very thin, very skinny, and I usually have to taper in a little bit more than normal. So I think when I go back and I make these again, I will taper that in about a 1/2 inch in, or maybe even more. I would have to see. But again, these were really simple and easy. You have how many pieces? I think 4 pieces. You have your front, your back pattern pieces. You have your front waistband and your back waistband. So yeah, 4 pieces. That's it. It's a really simple make. The only thing I don't like is that this pattern doesn't have pockets, but you can always add your own pockets or draft your own pockets for a pattern like this. It's just really it's really simple. So yeah, those are the makes that I made for the Sewsuitup challenge. I have fun with this challenge, and I'm thrilled that so many people participated. If you were one of the individuals who participated, who used the hashtag, who shared on stories, on your feed, on Instagram, thank you so much for participating, and thank you for doing all that you have done to enter your garment into this challenge. It's been a really nice challenge, really fun, and I'm thankful for everyone who have participated in the challenge. So if you want to know more about my garments or more about the challenge or anything like that, please leave me a comment below in my comment section. Also, tell me what you think about my garments, how they turned out, if you like them, or if you would like me to make something else with these garments, or with these patterns, I should say. Yes, let me know in the comment section below. All right, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you all later. I'll talk to you more about my upcoming plans for February. Mostly I am participating in the BHM Pattern Designers Challenge. As many of you know already, I am an ambassador for that challenge, and that's basically what I'm going to be doing for most of February. And I'm going to try to go ahead and get some kind of tutorial going on pretty soon, because that's something that I want to start doing for this year, is to do a tutorial. If you have any suggestions on the first tutorial of 2020, you know, what I should do, leave that in the comment section below as well. And I will talk to you all later. Stay creative, everyone.